wanted to meet with everyone this morning and go over our assignment from Module 6. I sent an email out last night and told you to hold off on, excuse me, on submitting any more or worrying about it until I go over this with you. I just want to back up a little bit. When I was grading some of the objectives, they were kind of jumping around. It was a little bit hard to follow, but I want to go over writing objectives and make sure everyone's on the same page here. Since doing that, I kind of typed up this little bit of information about the objectives and how we would write them. We're going to still follow the ABCD format from the internship, and I did post that in our Blackboard under course documents, and you'll see a behavior objectives as the title of it. So if you have a question on how to write those or what it should look like, go in there and check out that document. It's available for you. But I wrote this down. What do you do when you first write objectives? And one thing I want to stress to everyone is, yes, you're going to start with your standard and look those standards up. And then second, you're going to identify the benchmark that it is that you're wanting to achieve. And then break that down and look at an objective. Sometimes you're going to have to chunk things up in order to achieve that benchmark. So you might not be able to achieve the entire benchmark in one objective setting here like this. So you may have to break it down. The third thing is to remember that your objectives must be measurable and observable. Stating that you're going to have them continue working on da-da-da-da. Well, how are you going to measure that? And exactly what are you measuring? And, that's kind of a loose objective. So what I did here is I changed a little bit of the terminology on our assignment to state that instead of the cognitive, let's go knowledge base. So we have our low level. You're going to have knowledge base, application, and evaluation. I just kind of tried to group those a little bit differently to be more in line with what we're doing in internships and so forth and in your methods classes. So let's look at our objectives here. We have a low level. I need ideas for my low level objectives and I'm not sure what to do. Go back to the previous grade level and look for this same benchmark, maybe as introduced, or maybe it's just being built upon and scaffolded through the grade levels. But let's say I'm looking at a third grade benchmark and I'm not sure where to start as far as a low level objective. Go back and look at second grade at the higher level and see what it is that they had to achieve. They should be able to achieve that as your low level here. And then put it in knowledge, application, and evaluation. So your objective, let's say we're doing money, identifying coins. So, I'm going to see all of that, but the only thing that's really going to change here is how I'm going to look at the results, whether it's a knowledge base. My verb is going to change there, but still the results may be the same on how they're going on my analysis, that I'm going to know that they've achieved it and measurable. So as I start here, I've gathered up what I want them to do at a low level, and then I'm just going to change my knowledge, application, and evaluation beginning part of that objective to achieve that. I'm going to jump up from there to the high level. How do I know what the high level should achieve? Well, look at the next grade level above this objective. What is it they have to achieve? So at the low level of, if this is third grade that I'm writing, I want to go to fourth grade and look at their objective. What would be a low level for that? And that should pretty much match my high level here. So I'm kind of scaffolding it through. When I find that, then I go right back. I look at the knowledge, application, and evaluation, put my verbs in. I'm still achieving the same sort of objective here, just looking at it in a different way. I was thinking last night, I was driving home from Hutchinson, and I was like, how do I put that in kind of a visual for you? And I thought, it's kind of like looking at a vase sitting on a table. You can look at it from a side view, you can look at it from the bottom, or you can look at it from the top down. It's just how you're looking at the same vase. So if it's a high level objective, I'm looking at them producing the same results, but I'm going to look at how they're producing that in different ways: knowledge, application, evaluation. And I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to write my middle level last. I'm going to look at maybe where they would be in between here and put my knowledge, application, and evaluation one together, so that I'm keeping the objective flow, that I'm still working on money all the way through. I'm not going to change it, but I'm going to change how they're applying this objective. Okay, it may be identifying something very simple at the very beginning to counting money at the end, but and then I can put my accommodation type processes in between here, and I hope that makes sense. The fourth thing is, as you're writing these, I listed some knowledge things that you can include into your objectives that would help write that. Application, I'll move it down to the next page. Applications, different ways you could say that, and evaluation. So you have some ideas on where to put these verbs at the beginning of your objectives, just to help it flow. I always began my objectives with TSW, the student will, and so in my lesson plans I just had a template that's had TSW at the beginning of each one of my subject areas for the whole day, and then all I had to do was type in whatever my objective was for that lesson. If you're lucky enough to have a comprehensive program and the lessons are done for you, all we had to do is put the day we were on and maybe the book and what our if we were working on cause and effect, problem solution, characterization, whatever it was specifically. So we didn't have to actually write the objective, but we could list, because the objective was already written into the curriculum for us. So there's several ways it might happen if you were in a classroom working, but start it with TSW, that's fine with me. And then look at your benchmarks for the low. If you're writing the high level objectives, look at the low for the next grade level. And if you're writing low level ones, look at the high for the previous grade level. And then you'll have to just kind of fill in the middle here. Once again, I included the verbs here and to help you write those, and I also have included that into a document in the assignment also with some additional ones. So this information I pulled from your internship class on Blackboard and wanted to include that also. The fifth thing you're going to do here is actually writing your objectives, and when you're finished and you have them all sitting there, you will see that there's a nice flow to the learning process from the low to the high, and they should have just a nice flow as you look through them. It's not changing, you're not changing what you're doing. You're still working for the same common goal of achieving that benchmark. So if it deals with money, once again, leave it with money. If you're writing in a writing objective, it may be the writing process, and the benchmark may say beginning, middle, writing a beginning, middle, end. You may only want to work on just beginnings. Those are tough for students. I don't know that you could have just benchmarks going through and identifying that benchmark and having objectives just working on putting it all together. Chunk that up, and I can't stress chunking of this benchmark and the objective to achieve an end product. So chunk the information up, write your objective, look at the next one, change those verbs going through, then look at the middle. How would it the objective just a little bit above what your low level was, where am I going to be? And then look at the high one, and you should be able to put it together. I'm not finished grading, but I'll go back and finish that today. I'm going to do that now, and as I do that, I'll post comments. If you have points and a comment, and I went ahead and gave you points, then you're fine. If you didn't get points but you have a comment, then you need to go back and look at these. And I'm not stressed about when they're turned in. Let's take this week, this weekend, whatever. Let's do it right, because the next step is we're going to take these objectives and we're going to write that assessment piece, and I want you to do it right. I want to make sure that you understand what you're doing and that we're not just rushing through this assignment. It is a data point for our department, and I want them done right. So, and you guys are very capable, so I want to kind of showcase your abilities and make sure that they see that you are very good at objectives and your ideas and your lessons. So I just wanted to clarify that this morning and make sure that I'm on the same page with everyone, and that we will go back and look at these objectives. Take your time, make sure you do them right. If you have a question, send them to me in an email or Skype me something, and I'll look over them and let's make sure that we have this process right. Kind of just like we did in the action research projects, you know. I'd rather take a look at it and go the whole semester than hurry through it and have just a real quick product. So let's take our time here. Let's make sure this is right. I'm not stressed on the module 7 yet. Hold off. Let's do this. Let's get it done. So as far as right now, let's just hold off on the next assignments until we get this done and done right. I'm not in any hurry. So if you have a question, give me a call or Skype me or email me, and I'd be glad to talk to you. And if you are stuck in a point, pick up the phone, email me, same thing again. So have a good day, and I hope this explains the process of writing the objectives. Thanks. See you guys.